What is up, Taurus? Welcome to your general timeless love reading. This is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter placements. And my name is Jordyn. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Sorry for the delay in these readings. I was actually out sick for like a week and a half, and I lost my voice. So my voice is just now coming back. But let's get into it. So I'm going to be doing your You versus Them reading with Witches Tarot and Spellcasters. And if you want a personal reading or a Reiki session or spiritual life coaching, any of that, it's all linked down below in the description box through my website. Hello, Jen. How are you? But let's get into it. Let's see what's going on. I'm sorry if I'll be clearing my throat throughout this. I'm just still just recently getting my voice back. So let's get into it. Let's see what's going on for you guys. For Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Jupiter placements. Okay. Oh, I like this. I like this a lot. I like that the overall energy is justice. Oh, and underneath it is the Ten of Swords. Okay, I like this because this means that we're closing out a really difficult cycle and we're actually repairing something. It's almost like, okay, well, we can leave this in the past. Let's make amends. Let's tie up some loose ends and be done with it. Like, let's let bygones be bygones. I really, really like this energy. This is Gemini Libra energy, and we're actually in Gemini season. So this makes a lot of sense. And Libra energy is very, I want to make the peace. It's not necessarily people pleasing. It's more so I want to come to a happy medium. I want to meet my needs, meet your needs, and have us both on the same page. So this individual over here, Knight of Wands in reverse, Hangman, and the Star in reverse. This feels like a very, I don't want to say resistant. It feels like a hesitant energy. It feels very much so like this person's, they want to do things, like they want to take action in this dynamic, but at the same time, they're like, I don't know what kind of action to take. It's very teeter-totter, and they're very much so leaning on the divine with this, because the Knight of Wands is a very non-committal energy. It's almost as if their soul knows that they're supposed to be taking action of some sort in this dynamic, but at the same time, they're like, well, what action is that? I don't want to be impulsive, but something in me really, really wants to go and take impulsive action. This Knight of Wands actually comes across as like stepping back, like almost like staying on the sidelines, which I actually really, really like, because typically a Knight of Wands in reverse to me is a very like player energy, and they're like, I'm going to do what I need to do. And it just doesn't feel that way, which is really nice. The Hangman tells me that they're on the sidelines, they're hitting that pause button, they're not being impulsive. And with the Star, that tells me that the divine's at play here, and it's almost like a second chance. So this individual is most likely going through the realization of, they've gone through this cycle before. They're not going to behave in the same way again, and they're just going to give it up to the divine, because the divine's basically taking charge here. This is like a divine assist. When I have the Star in reverse, it's almost like the universe saying, hey, don't do anything. This has already happened too many times. It's long overdue with the Star in reverse. It's kind of like the last opportunity for this divinity to come in and clean this up. Okay. Sorry, I'm like losing my breath because my throat is just like, ugh. Over here, we have so much divinity between these two. Oh, Malanta. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major arcana and only one court card and one minor. Yeah, I have the whole spread. That's a lot. So big cycle closing out. This individual over here has the Sun, Karma, which is judgment, and the Chariot, all in reverse. This doesn't feel bad. It feels like this individual has not really explored spirituality, maybe. So if you are this individual, you're really into spirituality, you're really into allowing yourself to flow with energies that are at play, regardless of like the label spirituality and what you associate with that. This feels like someone who really is in touch with themselves, where this person feels very much so like, what's expected of me? What should I do in this situation? Like, what should I do in regards to like what society expects of me? And that's what's keeping them from their path. And that's what's keeping them in this energy of oppression. They're going through the lesson of freedom here. Because with karma in reverse, this is a really big decision, like a choice for them to make to allow themselves to be free and to align them with something that is more of their highest good, because the chariot is leading somebody to victory. The chariot is moving out of conflict. It's moving out of trials and tribulations into something that is very fulfilling emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in all aspects. And the sun is something that's blocking the third eye when it's in reverse. It's a lack of a higher state of consciousness, but it's also something that's really oppressing, like really keeping them bogged down. So the current situation is the lack of the personal power, right? So this is being mirrored in this situation because this person's like, well, I can't obtain my personal power right now because the universe is at play. And this individual is not really sure how to claim their personal power because they haven't quite yet done that. And so there's a big pause going on. Now, the obstacle is the Five of Swords. So there might be a challenge to really authentically express yourself between the two of you, or really state what it is you want of this relationship or where you want it to go. But a lot of this actually feels like both individuals needing to find themselves. And in order to find yourselves, that's when this is going to start to flourish. But whatever this conflict is, this is also betrayals and deceptions. And deceptions are going to definitely come up if someone's not living in their truth, if they're basically wearing a false face, because it's going to make somebody who's very intuitive, like this Knight of Wands over here feels very intuitive. It's going to make the Knight feel as if you're lying to me, when I don't feel that this person's actually, if they are lying, they're not trying to lie or come off as deceptive. They just don't really know themselves. And so they're about to embark on that whole journey of self-discovery. Very interesting. Cool stuff. But it's both people are about to come into alignment. I don't think that there's going to be a breakup or a separation here at all. This is actually very nice because both people are going through the same lesson in their own form. And that's why they're together. Because it's the mirror. So let's see what else is going on. Let's look at, I want to look at Justice first. I kind of want to look at this Hangman first, to be honest. Let's see what's going on here. Let's look at the Hangman. The Fool, the Three of Wands, and the Five of Wands. Yeah, they're like, intuitively, I know there's going to be a new cycle. I just got to stop trying to fight for it and squeeze onto it and chase it and chase it. I just need to be patient and wait for it to come to me, because the Five of Wands is that energy of like ambition and like it is a card of conflict, but it's also a card of really wanting to fight for something, like being very determined. And this person's like, I need to stop. This is most likely a very ambitious individual who always wants things at a certain speed. And if they don't come at that pace to them, they get very impatient, intolerant, and they think like, oh, it's not meant for me because it's not here yet. And they're realizing that that's not the case. They're going through the lesson of patience right now too. So it's pretty cool. I like that, because the 5 minus the 3 gives the 2 of Wands in reverse. They've already made the choice that they are committed to this. This individual over here, they are committed to this. So if this is who you're dealing with and you feel lost right now in your life, the person that you're dealing with, if they're distant right now, they do want this. They're just allowing the space in this relationship so both people can have a fresh energy about them, because that's needed. Because if you become too enmeshed, then you're not going to evolve, because you're constricting one another. The Star, 8 of Pentacles. Yep. So here is the universe quite literally putting in all the energy, all the effort, all the diligence, all the time in order to make the 8 into a 10, because 8s in tarot always lead to a 10. And the 10 of Pentacles would be the long-term commitment and the contract, the stable foundation. This is being rebuilt, because the old form of it is a 10 of Swords. And that's what we need to let go of. But both people are kind of still holding on to that, because that's distorted feminine energy, and that's codependency. It's what's familiar. And that's what the ego likes to hold on to, that crap, right? Like, oh my God, I'm addicted to chaos and conflict because I don't know how to thrive in a healthy environment, right? Let's look at the Knight of Wands. That's what I feel like. That's more so this Knight, like realizing like they're impulsive or on unhealthy habits. And they're like, I can't keep doing that because it keeps giving me this result that I don't want. Queen of Swords in reverse, Seven of Swords. Yeah, they realize that if they were to act impulsively and speak out of anger or frustration, that's the self-sabotaging behavior. And that's why it's deceptive. It's a Seven of Swords energy. And so they're stopping that. That's really good. That's really good. So I really like this. I like this a lot. This is amazing. This is really good. I'm so happy. This is really good. This is really good. And that's the thing about distance. Like sometimes we associate distance with like such a negative connotation, and sometimes distance, we need to remind ourselves like this is a gift. Like the space between us right now is actually to help us. It's not to hinder us. Because look at this, they're a King of Swords, so you're a true pair. You're mirroring each other very much so. So they're the King of Swords in reverse, and there's the Hermit in reverse, which is the ghosting energy. So if this individual is again distant, Hermit in reverse it's not introspection. It's a lack of introspection. It's someone who's just like, I don't want to talk. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. And they're not ghosting because of this person. They're ghosting because there's a lack of knowing self. They don't know how to connect. They don't know how to have that intimacy. And so in turn, they shut down, they disassociate. And by disassociating, it gives them an excuse to feel safe and in control of their environment. And so that's the poor decision, karma, judgment, the judgment call, the choice, right? That's the bad choice that they make. And that's their self-sabotaging behavior. And they don't see that quite yet. But that's how they keep themselves oppressed. And that's what stops them from moving forward. Okay. So let's see what's going on here. Let's look at the sun, because this is where their shift's going to be. The sun in reverse. So when I get the same card on top of the same card, especially in the same position, it's validation for me as a reader that the channel message we're getting is correct. And again, that's their lack of moving forward with the Eight of Wands. So they really do want to move forward. It happens very slow for this individual. So if they like to present themselves as someone who's really ambitious, they are ambitious, but they lack a lot of confidence in themselves. Because the choices they have to make, look at this particular judgment card. It's literally somebody who's like, they're down on themselves. They might have a really big victim mentality going on here, but they really want to thrive. They want this recognition, but they seek the recognition externally versus giving it to self. So let's look at the Chariot. Justice and the Five of Pentacles. Yeah. So what they're healing in order to move forward is their lack mentality, the scarcity mindset, this mentality of I'm a failure. I'm not good at this. I can't succeed. No one's going to love me. Like I'm not worthy of success. I need to run when things start to look great and fantastic because eventually the sky is going to fall. Limiting beliefs. If this is you, I highly recommend getting the book I'm a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Because not only can you apply that to your finances and your sense of stability in life, but you can actually apply the techniques in that book. And it's an easy read if you don't like reading. You can apply it to other things in life too, like love, yourself, scarcity mindset in regards to your sense of self-worth, right? But also just ask yourself questions like, and this is kind of what we go over in like the spiritual life coaching that we do, is what stories are you telling yourself? Like currently, like what's your story around relationships, around men, around women, around your friends, around money, around all of that? Okay. And what's the story you want to tell yourself? What are you doing to get to that story? And then we come up with steps and ways that work with you and your human design and all that. Because everybody's energy is going to work differently, but just food for thought. Let's look at the Magician. Three of Swords in reverse. Four of Swords. Here it is. So here's the healing process. Hangman in reverse, which is the shift in perspective. The World is the closing out of the cycle. And the Three of Pentacles is the collaboration, the both of you understanding that not one person is the student. And hello, Autumn. And not one person is the teacher, right? It's the exchange of energy, right? That flow between one another, that give and take. Because a lot of times we like to perceive one person as, oh my gosh, you're the teacher in this dynamic and I have to be the student and I don't want to humble my ego for that. No, like you flow in and out of those roles with one another and that's okay. So the Magician in reverse, it's the misuse of the personal power. It's ego, right? Power struggles. That's what we're healing here. With the Three of Swords to the Four, this is progression forward. And the 4 minus the 3 gives the Ace of Swords, finding the truth, the authentic self, right? So you're going on this healing journey together. This is the current situation, which leads to new perspectives. Hangman in reverse, right? Because he's upside down and now he's finally facing upright. And then you have the world, closing out the cycle, the old ways of doing things, and rebuilding a healthy foundation together. This is going to result in healthy communication, not shutting down on one another, disassociating. So let's look at the obstacle you're going to face, the Five of Swords. This is that tit for tat power struggle. Don't allow that to happen. Don't fall into the power struggle. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune in reverse. There's the Magician in reverse, Lovers in reverse. There's the power struggle, right? And the Six of Swords. This is going to be your challenge in this. And it's bound to happen because it's basically, it's not going to get fixed overnight. Like realistically, at the end of the day, you're breaking down aspects of your ego, right? Programming. So when we start breaking these things down, they're going to come up to the surface over and over and over again until we break that habitual cycle of behaving and reacting in that manner. So Five of Swords. So there's that habit, right? That conflict, that knee-jerk reaction to want to poke the bear or push away or shut down or disassociate, whatever label you want to slap on it. And the Wheel of Fortune in reverse is that lack of change and going backwards. It's not spinning forward. It's spinning backward to the old way. The power struggle, right? The current energy. When the reality of conflict is actually to challenge us to be vulnerable, to sit into the divine connection and move from the 5 to the 6, to the peace, to the harmony, to the balance, because the 6 is the 3 and the 3. Balance, the equal exchange of communication, swords, the mind, the intellect, how we speak to one another and perceive a situation. It's a conscious choice to show up for one another in a new way. Page of Swords, becoming the student and speaking your truth in a new way. Okay. And lastly, let's look at Justice. I really, really like this. I really like this because this is going to turn into a very healthy relationship once both people make the conscious choice to do this change. But it's all about that, making that conscious choice. And that's where the free will comes in, because there's a lot of divinity here, but their free will is the kicker. That's the kicker. So you see what yep, Hierophant, beautiful. This is the new rule book. The Hierophant to me is not only spirituality, a higher consciousness, the teacher, contracts and all that, but it's also the rule book. You're rewriting a rule book. You're rewriting the contract. You're making new contingencies for this relationship together. I love that so much for you. This is going to be a very long-term commitment, but the old way of doing things needs to end. And you need to be vulnerable. Page of Cups. Be honest about how you feel with one another. Sounds very simple, but in all reality, we all know it's not. It doesn't have to be complicated, though. It doesn't. It does not have to be complicated. And it can be simple if we don't complicate things. But Taurus, this is what I have for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. If you want a personal reading or a Reiki session, go ahead, check out my website down below in the description box. If you want to join our tarot course, or you want to become a certified Reiki practitioner levels 1, 2, and 3, or you want to get spiritual life coaching, go ahead, check that out. Or you want to join our Patreon family for weekly tarot readings, monthly tarot readings, meditations, energy work, and mini spiritual life coaching aspects, go ahead, check out that platform too. And I love you. I wish you the best, and I'll see you next time.